When you create a video is a one-to-one medium. You've created it and you're talking to one person. It's no different than if they were standing right next to you.
Hello and welcome to episode 173 of the Smart Agents podcast. As always, my name is Michael Walter and I'll be your host. Joining us today is Atiba de Souza, video marketing expert and CEO of Client Attraction Pros. It's no big revelation that there is more content being produced than ever before with the introduction of AI. But with search engines like Google putting more emphasis on displaying video in their search results, now is the time to refine your video creation approach in order to attract more clients. With expertise in everything from video SEO to capturing viewers' attention, Atiba shares his top tips for getting your videos to appear in that coveted top ranking spot. Throughout our conversation, Atiba explains his blueprint for creating content your intended audience will find engaging, explains the metrics that matter most to YouTube when determining if a video is worth sharing to a wider audience, and touches on why you must be creating both long-form and short-form content. But before we get on to today's featured interview, the all-new Smart Agents magazine has launched and is full of insights and strategies designed to help real estate agents grow their businesses. Inside, you will find interviews and advice from leading real estate professionals, marketing tips to flood your business with leads, and even swipe and deploy files full of practical tools to enhance your business. Subscribe now to receive your copy of the printed magazine each month and instantly get access to our online agent community and members-only templates. Click the link in the episode description or go to smartagents.com/magazine. Also, if you enjoyed this conversation, be sure to like and subscribe. The Smart Agents podcast streams on all major podcasting platforms such as Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon, and of course, YouTube. And finally, if you or someone else on your team has an incredible story or real estate tips to share with our community, send us a message at feedback@smartagents.com. We're always on the lookout for new stories to share. All right, let's get on to today's featured interview with Atiba de Souza. If you're interested in hearing more from Atiba, I've included several links in the episode description. Really, the way I like to start everything out is if you could just introduce yourself to us a little bit, who you are and what you do.
Hey, my name is Atiba de Souza of Client Attraction Pros. And guess what? I help you shorten your sales cycle. And yes, in real estate, those sales cycles can be pretty darn long. By using video, that thing that you're probably terrified at and really, really jealous because you see someone else does it way better than me, or at least so you think. And that's why they get all the sales. I help you figure out how to use video, shorten that sales cycle so that you can be the real estate star that you need to be.
Right. And so obviously in real estate, video is one of those things that has been around. But with the advent of, the social media and the more people that are on the TikToks and the Instagrams, more and more people are becoming, visible on video. However, a lot of the people that I talk to, it's a scary thing to get started with. So What are some of your tips for just kind of getting over the fear maybe a little bit just to get started?
Yeah. Interestingly enough, the biggest tip to getting over your fear of video has nothing to do with video at all. And I know that sounds a little strange, but here's what it is. It's understanding what you love and what your audience loves. Okay? That's the biggest thing. If you are the real estate agent who specializes in finding that whatever type of house, because there's this niche thing that you do, that's what you talk about on video. If your clients come to you because they know you find the best houses in the best school districts, that's what you talk about. One of the problems with video is we try to get on and talk about stuff we don't know anything about, and then we feel phony, fake, unreal. It'd be kind of like me talking about cardiac surgery right now. I don't even know if I said that right. That's how little I know about the topic, right? Like, I don't know anything about that. I'd be really uncomfortable having this conversation with you, Michael, if that's what we were talking about.
Right. So, talking about the video marketing, how did you get your start in it? What did you do to get into this world?
Yeah, it's a really great question. So I backed into this world by accident, if you can believe that or not. Most people get into this because they went to film school or they were some creative person. I actually was a techie. I've been in search since 1996, built my first search engine in 1996, and I've been doing stuff with helping businesses get ranked and found in search engines ever since. And right now, video is the hot thing in search. If you want to be found in a search engine, you've got to be producing video in 2024 and beyond.
Right. So, tell me why you say that the video is where you need to be if you want to hit those SEO terms when you're, searching something online.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a really, really great question. And, it was even less prevalent, but it's even more prevalent right now, 12 months rather, after ChatGPT has hit the market and kind of taken over so much. Okay. Listen, we've seen it since 2017. There is more and more and more and more written content hitting the web every single second. Your competitors are all creating blogs and writing stuff all day long. So how can you outrank all of them when there are new competitors coming in? People will tell you, oh, just create better content. But what the heck does that mean? And if we're all trying to create better content, there are only so many spots on page one, right? Then here came ChatGPT and AI, and now everyone is creating written content at breakneck speed. So there's even more. So how do you compete? Well, something happened a couple of years ago that most people ignored. And there was a big battle that happened between Instagram, Google, and TikTok. Now, Google was in the middle of it, and so it went Google and Instagram, right? And in this case, we're talking about YouTube and Instagram, since Google owns YouTube, right? And Instagram Reels, and then YouTube and TikTok and all of TikTok's videos. And Google started losing the video race to these other platforms. And so they said, here's how we win. We start ranking videos at the top of page one of Google. Now, you would think that, okay, they did that and there's tons of video out there. And so again, Atiba, how am I going to compete? It's probably what you're thinking. And Michael, you might even ask that yourself, right? Well, how do I compete? Well, get this. When Google did that, they also said, and we don't think there's that much quality video out there. There's a huge dearth. Even though there's a ton of content, a lot of it's crap, and Google knows it. And there's this huge chasm that exists right now of Google looking for quality video content that you can fill and get to the top of page one faster than you could really in the last 15 years. We haven't seen this since about between 2004 and 2007.
Yeah, absolutely. And, just to kind of go back to one of those things you said there is that, Google decided to start ranking their videos at the top of their search. And I know anytime I, put something in Google, whether it's changing a spark plug on my truck or doing anything, the very first thing on the very first bar is 3 or 4 videos, right there, there from YouTube.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. And so that's the opportunity that exists right now.
Yeah.
Right?
So when it comes to actually creating content, and you're saying to create that good content, what's kind of the blueprint to make sure that you are, kind of going down the path of creating this stuff that Google is going to see and say, this is what we want to put out to our people searching us?
Yeah, it's a great question. And let's go back to where we started when you said, what do I need to get over the hump of getting on video? And I said, it's not about video itself. It's about what you want to talk about. It's about what you love and what your audience loves. Okay. So here's the deal. If your audience loves to, like your customers love to have a backyard where they can have a grill and invite me over and cook for me, I'm joking, but but seriously, if they're outdoor cookers and they want that backyard where they can go out and grill in the backyard, but then they also want to be in a great school district, and they really don't want their neighbors too close to them either, right? If that's who you serve and that's what they love to talk about, and those are the houses that you can specialize in finding, I guarantee you, they are going to Google today to do a search to find that house on their own. They're going to Google today to find the neighborhoods where that house might exist on their own. That, my friends, is what you need to look for. So you can find the questions that people are asking, typing into Google very, very simply. So let's say you are in Clearwater, Florida, okay? And you want a house that does not have a pool, okay? But you want this fabulous backyard. And most houses in Florida, if they have a fabulous backyard, have a pool, but you don't want a pool. Fabulous backyard and you want a great school. If that's what you wanted, you may have searched for that in Google. You may say Clearwater, Florida, house with no pool. Go to Google and do the search as if you were a customer yourself. Mm-hmm. Once you do that, if you scroll about a third of the way down the page, you'll see a section called People Also Asked. In this section, it will show you actual questions that people have typed into Google related to the terms you put in the search bar. Now, the next time you are showing a property, touring a property, wanting to create a video about a property, title the video one of those questions and show how the house answers that question.
Right.
That is creating great content that your audience wants to consume, that Google will want to rank.
Right. Absolutely. And, for a lot of our agents and a lot of folks I talk to that have really kind of figured out video creation, they're answering all those questions for maybe a specific neighborhood. Yes. So, when you type in like Clearwater, what's it, just certain attributes of Clearwater, Florida, and there might be 10 different questions there. Well, there's 10 different videos you can hit on the school systems, the restaurants, yes, the parks, all those different, yes, things. And that's fantastic content to start, yes, building out.
Absolutely. And now you say, well, how do I do that, dude? Do I just like get on camera and what do I do? Well, here, it's real simple, right? So let's say there is a question about the school district. Mm-hmm. Sure. You can jump on the camera and get in front of the camera and say, the Clearwater School District is one of the finest in the, yeah, but nobody cares, right? However, what you can do, which would be so much better, is while you're showing a house, so just use the house as what we call B-roll, just the video, do a voiceover over that, talking about some of the amenities of the house, but then also throwing in there the bit about the school system. Okay, blend it all together. And this house is in one of the greatest school districts in the entire country, right down the street from XYZ Elementary School and feeds into ABC High School.
When people are doing that, so say they, as an agent, you're going to have multiple listings and you're going to be creating multiple of these home tour videos. If I were to do that for every home in that area, would I start ranking more for those terms of,
yes,
the Clearwater School District? If it came up, would I, because I'm doing it more and more in my videos, would my name start to be pushed up?
Yes, it will. Now, let's talk some logistics. Okay. So in the video, you do have to say the question that you're answering multiple times. You do have to say the area that you're serving multiple times. Now, don't go Clearwater, Clearwater, Clearwater. Don't make a song out of it. We're not talking about that. Make it natural, right? But also, when you title the video with the question that you're answering, and then put Clearwater, Florida at the end of that in the title. When you're writing the description, okay, mention Clearwater, Florida multiple times in the description. Mention the question that you're answering in the description. And likewise, make sure, especially when you're posting on YouTube, that you upload the transcript of your video. Now, a lot of people ask me, but YouTube has an auto transcribe feature. Can I just use that? Yeah, you can. You can. And YouTube will tell you it's about 60% accurate, and you don't get to choose which 40% it gets wrong.
Yeah.
So you may say Clearwater, Florida, and I don't think this exists, but it may hear Clearwater, California. In which case, you just wasted your time. Because you can't choose what it gets right and what it gets wrong. So upload your own transcript and control what you're saying.
But and that comes for, for anybody that is familiar with uploading to YouTube, there are a lot of customizations and things that you can add to the back end of your video going through that whole uploading process.
Yes.
And I personally feel like that's something that you really need to take seriously when you're uploading a video. It's just as important as the actual content itself. Is all of that stuff on the back end.
It is. It absolutely is. And I will tell you this, despite what Michael just said, if you're not creating any video today, just go create a video. You'll get to all the other fancy stuff. Don't let that stop you. Pull out your phone and go create a video. Okay? Start today. Start today. And while we're talking about that, I know people get nervous on camera and it's like, I get it. I do. I coach people who are on camera for the first time, so I get the nerves. But here's the reality. When you create a video is a one-to-one medium. You've created it and you're talking to one person. Only one person's watching this video at a time. You're talking to that one person. It's no different than if they were standing right next to you, looking at the house, asking you the questions. To this day, I have been creating videos since 2007. To this day, still pretend there's someone sitting on the other side of the camera that I'm talking to.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah, absolutely. When, and with that, also, just pulling out your phone, because video is so prevalent now and so many people are doing it, I feel like, I got my start in video with a television station. We had all the lights and all the multiple cameras, everything, full on studio.
Yeah.
And now, most of my former colleagues, they're running around with cell phones now.
Yes.
And it's widely accepted now that you can go out there and shoot everything on your phone. And honestly, the lenses on the phone are better than some of the cameras we used to use.
Yes, absolutely. And that's the beauty of it. The power is there in your hands. And, yes, does lighting matter? Sure. Right? You don't want to shoot a dark room. Let's be real. Okay. But at the same time, shooting on your phone also gives you an aesthetic of real that people are looking for, because your audience wants to connect with you. They don't want to know that you spent thousands of dollars to hire a film crew to come in with massive equipment to shoot this video that they're then going to have to pay for in your fees. They actually like the fact that you were the one there shooting the video yourself. Okay? They want to connect with you.
Right. When it, and we touched on some of those things like, trying to figure out what videos to create, and by, going to the Googles and, finding those topics and those questions that come in. When it comes to the actual, okay, now I have a topic I want to talk about. Do you have almost like a blueprint for a script, or not necessarily a script, but kind of the structure of the video to make sure that it's engaging to your audience?
Yes. So number one, your video must start with a hook. Okay? Because there is a ton of content out there. Let's just face it. And if you bore them from jump, they're going to be bored.
Yeah.
Okay? So things like, hi, today I'm going to tell you, that's boring. Right? Or reading your bio up front. Yeah, they don't care. Right? There's an old axiom that I learned from John Maxwell. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And in this realm and reality, them knowing that you care is all about you answering their question and giving them the information that they want. That's what tells them that you care. Right? So you want to start off with a hook. You want to start off with something that's going to grab their attention. Okay? So yes, we've all seen those clickbait hooks. And I'm not saying that you should to talk about, there was a dead body buried in this basement. Yeah, don't do that. Don't do that. right? But something along the lines of, can you believe that you can get the most perfect home right down the street from the most perfect school in Clearwater, Florida for under $600,000? That's a hook. Now, assuming all that information was true, it was a true hook and it would have grabbed someone in. I don't know if it is or not, but it would have grabbed them in and it would get them to listen. So you always start off with a hook,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You got about 10 seconds to deliver your hook. Go ahead.
Right. Yeah. And I think that's, and then once you've kind of delivered that hook, then it becomes part of that delivering on the question that you set out to answer, and make sure that people aren't sitting there waiting forever to get the point across.
Don't bury the lead. In journalism, when newspapers came out, that was the whole thing. Okay, back when you had a telegraph and all of that, I'm going all the way back, World War I now. Okay, we had a situation where they were trying to send messages home, and they didn't know if the entire message would get there. So they had to actually put the lead in the beginning of the message, right? And if you consider, that's how articles are still written. You start off, and then it kind of trails. Okay. We take that into video in some senses. So you're going to start off with that hook. Then do a quick introduction of yourself. When I say quick, I'm talking 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Okay. Usually your tagline or whatever it is, right? I am the happy home real estate guy from Clearwater, Florida, whatever your tagline is. Then you give them a summary of what's going to come. So let's say there are 5 points you're about to make. Let's say there's 6 points. 6 is even better. Let's say there's 6 points you're about to make. You say, hey, listen, I've got 5 things I got to tell you about this neighborhood in Clearwater that you're going to want to hear. But I've also got a bonus number 6 that I'm going to share with you at the very end. So make sure you stay till the very end. That gets people to watch longer.
Right.
Okay. So you tell them, I've got these 5 things. So they know that's coming. And then you jump into it.
Yeah. And then, so when it comes to, the SEO ranking and getting ranked, how does that, the ratio of minutes watched versus, how long a video is, how does that all play into the ranking of a video on Google?
Yeah. So that's a question no one can answer. Just being honest. And we've been trying. Okay.
Yeah.
Because we've seen videos that have, really, really not forget watch time, very few viewers, period, rank. And then we've seen other videos with tons of views, not rank. And it's just like, yeah, I wish I had an answer. And they haven't told us. Yeah. Nobody really knows the answer to that question yet, unfortunately. Right. I wish we did.
Yeah, it'd make things a lot easier.
Yes, it would. Yes, it would.
Well, and I think that helps kind of drive home the point, because I know, like, for us too, you can bang your head on, you can search up different ways to optimize your YouTube videos or whatever, and you might get 8 different answers that all kind of contradict each other, with watch time. So I think that drives home the point of, don't get so caught up in the analytics of things. Just go out there and start creating, because that's how you're going to get your name out there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Especially when we're talking about Google rankings. Now, when we talk about YouTube rankings, it's a little bit different, but we're not talking about that just yet. But it is a little bit different, and their algorithm does take watch time into account in different ways, which are quite frustrating.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Right. Yeah. And so kind of dovetailing over to, from the Google ranking, if somebody is, and obviously a lot of the video content creation that we're talking about right now really is that YouTube content creation, because, the Instagrams and the TikToks, those are out there, but to get that SEO ranking, it's the YouTube content. So once somebody goes from searching you on Google to searching you on YouTube, how do those analytics start working? And what are you wanting to make sure that you are keying in on there?
Yeah. So the YouTube algorithm in terms of ranking is very, very, very different than the Google algorithm for ranking. I would even tell you that it's easier to rank in YouTube. So everything that I've told you so far will help you rank in YouTube. Where YouTube gets funny is YouTube has YouTube search, YouTube has YouTube discover, YouTube has YouTube suggested.
Right.
It has your homepage, and there are all these different places where videos can show up. I know some of the best at ranking videos on YouTube, and like you said, none of them agree. And truthfully, what you need to do to show up in YouTube suggested is different than what you need to show up in YouTube discover, and they can contradict each other.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, it's extremely frustrating. It's extremely frustrating. Now, how do you decide? That's always the question. How do you decide? If you are a small brand, and so this goes beyond even real estate, because this you wouldn't care as much about this in real estate, but just bear with me. If you're a small or smaller brand, and there are much bigger brands who generate lots of viewership in your market, you want to show up in suggested. Show up there because they're going to bring the right traffic. And then YouTube's going to say, hey, now that you watch their video, go watch this person's video too. And you want that association. Okay.
Right.
Versus if you don't have that, then you want to show up in Discover. And now showing up in Discover means that you're tailoring your video to your audience better. Okay. And that comes down to how you write your descriptions. That comes down to how you call out your audience in the video. Lots of little nuances in there that help you show up in Discover versus in the suggested.
Right. Absolutely. And yeah, for the, for the real estate agents and really, for if you're doing this, that type of content, ideally, and YouTube is going to push you more the more times, your own videos are being suggested,
Yes.
when somebody is watching your stuff.
Yes, absolutely. Now, always remember that every platform, every social media platform, I know we're talking about YouTube, but this goes across the board. They all have one or two metrics that are the most important to them. For YouTube, it's time on site and did your video, and I forget exactly what, they have a cuter name than how I'm about to describe this metric. Did your video cause the viewer to watch another video? Those are the two things, because if your video caused the user to leave the platform, they don't like you.
Right. Right. Absolutely.
Now you want to say, but that's what I want them to do. I want them to leave the platform. I want them to come to my website and see, but yeah, but it's important to understand in strategy, almost 80% of your videos are designed not to get someone to leave the YouTube platform. It's designed to get them to watch your next video, which will take them to a video that causes them to leave the platform. In other words, you're going to give YouTube what it wants, which is time on platform and causing them to watch multiple videos before you ask the user to leave the platform to get what you want.
And I think that, by doing some of those videos that we talked about earlier, those neighborhood type tours or the top 10 things, to do as a small family in Clearwater, and you have a whole, series of those that kind of helps allow, that kind of build up.
Exactly. So how does that look? So you did a tour of a house, and you end that video, you'll have cards at the end of that video. You can also end the video. Every video has to have a CTA, call to action. And the call to action would be like, so considering moving to Clearwater, I've got another video on the top 10 things that you should do as a family or could do as a family in Clearwater. Click the link down below. Right? What does that get them to do? Watch your next video.
Yeah, absolutely. When it comes to, YouTube and the longer form content is obviously, what we've been talking about, but there have been, the short form stuff, and even YouTube themselves is really kind of pushing the YouTube shorts. How has that changed the, what you do in the video, in the SEO marketing and the search when it comes to video content.
Yeah. So I'm about to say a word that I've never said publicly before because I just learned this word exists. Okay. So I'm sharing with you something with y'all for the first time, and it's called parasocial relationships. I didn't know that that's what we were doing. What we're doing, okay. There's actually a psychological term for it. It's called building parasocial relationships. These are relationships where the viewer feels like they're in a relationship with you, even though it's one-sided. So you don't know they exist. You don't know anything about them, but they're growing closer and closer and closer and building a stronger bond with you. What we end up hearing is customers who say, I had a client who called and they act like we've been friends forever because of parasocial relationships. That's the beauty of shorts. You see, here's the deal. People will date you through short form and then marry you through long form. So thinking about the relationship aspect of this, right? We want to go on multiple dates. That's how we build that parasocial relationship. We want little dates, hey, let's grab a coffee. Hey, let's go to a movie, right? That's what your short form is. Little chunks of dates that help them continue just to build and grow a little bit closer until they say, you know what? Let's go to Aspen for the weekend.
Yeah.
Right? And take the relationship to the next level. Now, they're in Aspen with you. You're still in Florida.
Right.
Okay. But that's the point. The point here is that by the time they actually reach out to you, they've gone through the entire process of getting to know you, like you, trust you, and they're ready to do business with you. That's what shorts to long form will do for you.
Right. And I think that's why it's so important to make sure that you are doing both. You're not just a long form creator or a short form creator, because I was even talking to my wife about this not too long ago. She's very much, on TikTok. And I was like, but how many of those people, how many of the people do you know their names or, are really super invested in their actual businesses or things like that? She goes, well, I know of them and I know I would recognize them, but it's the longer form stuff that I go back to that really helps drive that connection.
Yes. Exactly. She gets it.
Yeah.
Parasocial relationships.
Right. So obviously, these are topics that can dovetail into hours and hours of, really, fine tuning and figuring out to make sure somebody is on the right path to creating content. Tell me a little bit about, what you do with your clients and how people can get hooked up with you to start getting some of this stuff.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And thank you for that. And so first and foremost, I know that Michael and I probably answered some questions, but we probably also created more questions, if not confusion, for you in some ways today, because this can get a little confusing. And I would love the opportunity to actually answer your specific questions. So what I'd love for you to do is actually go to meetatiba.com. That's ATIB as in boy A, meetatiba.com. That's going to take you directly to my LinkedIn. When you get there, hit the connect button, not the follow button. Hit connect, send me a message, tell me you saw me on Michael's show, ask me your question, let's chat. Let's start a dialogue, let's start a conversation. Because the reality of it all is, whether you hire someone like me or decide to do it on your own, the video revolution is here, and it's time for you to get in the game. It's time. You have an unprecedented opportunity right now. I'm telling you, this opportunity that you have right now has not existed since about 2004, between 2004 and 2007. And I don't know when the next one will be. So you can get way ahead of your competition today. But you can't do that if you don't get your questions answered and you get started. So meetatiba.com, ask me your questions. Let me help.
Awesome. Well, again, I really do appreciate you taking the time to talk with us today. I'm sure we probably did cause, some more questions for people today, but that's always a good thing when I think you're getting people interested in the video creating and the, that type of marketing.
Yes. No, thank you for the opportunity to be here and share with the audience. And I'm glad that you care so much about them to be able to help them realize this.
I really want to thank Atiba for sharing his video marketing expertise with us today, and we'll definitely be implementing some of his strategies in our own content creating process. Remember, if you're interested in hearing more from Atiba, I've included links in the episode description. So once again, if you think you or someone else on your team has an incredible story or real estate tips to share with our community, send us a message at feedback@smartagents.com. Well, that wraps things up for this episode, but remember, follow the show wherever you listen to podcasts, and make sure to subscribe to the Smart Agents YouTube channel. Again, I'm Michael Walter, and we'll see you on the next episode.